Hey, everybody. Welcome to Opening the Bedroom Doors. We're going to start by connecting within or, moving around with whatever energy shows up for you with this music. Say hello in the chat if you're here live. We would love to chat with you and get ready to just sink in a little bit. And this looks many different ways for many different people. This is our awesome guest, Gina GG Garris, who is going to be joining us talking about being shameless and slutty. So hold on to your britches or take them off.
Take them off. Take them off.
Okay, ready?
To the place
I like this.
where I belong. I wanna be free, be me, be the only being that I see. Not to rise and not to fall, be at one with love and all. There is no high, no low, there's nowhere else to go except inside your heart and be just who you are. Not my mind, to the place where I belong. Gotcha, my mind, to the place where I belong. Gotcha, my mind, coming home to the place where I belong. Gotcha, my mind, coming home to the place where I belong.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you for switching up the vibes of that song.
Yeah.
I love being able to breathe after doing this dance because usually I'm winded. So that was lovely and wonderful and so sensual. Yes, this is a sensual feast. Gigi is very much a part of that sensual feast, and that's actually how we met as well. So if you're new to joining us, this is Opening the Bedroom Doors. We're focusing on all the little topics that are titillating that could potentially open your mind to new erotic possibilities in your life. I often hear in my private practice as a sex coach that people compare themselves to the neighbor next door, that they have no idea what that neighbor is doing behind closed doors. So we're opening up those doors so you can remove any stigma, any beliefs that don't need to be with you, to try on that little dose of whatever entices you of erotic possibility. So again, my name is Jessie Fresh, and this is Gigi. And Gigi and I met, we really got introduced to one another from our coach training as erotic blueprint coaches, where we were paired in a small group of maybe 5 people, and we were practicing an exercise of erotic touch and really practicing your boundaries and requesting what it is that you wanted. That could be genital touch, no genital touch. It could be anything and everything that you desired, fulfilled by 5 people. Gina was part of my group, and it was the most epic 5 minutes of my life. And so I'm curious what your experience of that was. Or what the highlight was from that.
You know, it's like that song in a way. It was a coming home. There's times in your life when you have these moments that you feel, I'll speak from my experience. I felt accepted. I felt celebrated. I felt like I belonged. I felt like my eroticism was just welcomed and loved and like, yes. And so I feel like the song that we just danced to, which is like coming home. So it felt like a coming home of, oh, thank you for seeing me. And then like wanting more. That felt fun.
Yeah. I think that was for all of us for sure.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that was 5 minutes. Now we need 2 more hours.
Exactly.
I love that. Would you mind introducing yourself to everyone and what you do, who you are, how awesome you are?
Yeah. Thank you. So, my name's Gina, and you can also call me GG. If you're really close to me, you can call me Pussycat. I love that name. I love that nickname. And I guess my claim to fame is I'm queer, I'm curvy, I have herpes, and I have amazing, amazing pleasure in my life. And I'm just passionate that if anyone out there wants pleasure and they feel like they can't have it for whatever reason, I just really want them to know it's possible. That everyone is worthy of pleasure and lots of pleasure. And so that's my jam. I have had a lot of shame in my life. So I am a self-proclaimed shame slayer. Say that a lot, shame slayer. And the way that I slay shame is different because it's about loving. My shame is very tender, very sacred. And so, yeah. So I'm going to talk about being shameless and what that is and what that means.
Can you clarify for me what that you said that your shame is tender, and did you say sacred?
Sacred.
Can you share more of what that means for you? I want to know more, and I want to feel really clear on understanding what that means for you.
Yeah. So for me, I learned to have a relationship with my shame. My shame is like deep caverns within my beautiful body, and it helps guide me. So it has become a sacred relationship in my life to help guide me to places that I could lean in more, places that I have fear, places that I have made up stories around why I show up in a certain way or why I don't, or what I do or what I don't do. And so I guess I've utilized it. It's my why, like it's my big why of why I do this work. And it just has become precious. That's why I call it sacred. It's just a precious gift that continues to like say hello. Like, hello. I thought we just played, shame. She's like, no. Let's play some more. And I'll be like, oh my gosh. Wow, you have a lot to say today. Like, you have a lot to say today. Are you sure? Are you sure you should go on Facebook with like this? Are you sure? Yeah. You don't have a bra on and people have judged you before. Like, you're going to be called a slut. And I was like, yes, that's what we're talking about. Thank you, sweetheart.
Oh my gosh. So many questions just came up for me of like, well, first excitement, just to be speaking about this and to be understanding this more, and to be learning from you. But also my first thought was like, oh, is shame given to us, or is it something that we put on ourselves? Because when you were saying that, I was like, oh, is shame something from someone else, or is it within us regardless?
Yeah, I think it's both. I think it's both. I think that shame can show up like all sorts of strange reasons, and it doesn't have to be sexual. Sex is just such a tender, beautiful topic that it tends to be layered with, it's like the most delicious layered cake out there. Like, like religious and society and parents, and then, the boyfriend or girlfriend that told you were fat or ugly or whatever. Like, sex just tends to be weird. It's beautiful. Yeah.
I love that. And then I also thought that as you were speaking about shame being able to come out, and then like the slutty like almost like it's on a spectrum of do you see it as on a spectrum?
I think everything's on a spectrum.
Yeah.
I've learned to like put everything on dials.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay, like, can I turn it down? Can I turn it up? You know, I love to have like sacred tantrums. And so I love to just like let my shame out for a sacred tantrum and just turn it up to 10 and like, you know, beat the pillows and scream. And I love those. Those are fun because we need to emote, right? Like if we keep it in, that's to me when we get into trouble. When we don't talk about it. So shame, well, I work with them as something I call emotional STDs, which is shame, trauma, and drama. Emotional STDs.
Shame, trauma, and drama.
Yeah. And emotional STDs, shame, trauma, and drama, they grow exponentially with secrecy, silence, and judgment.
Ooh, someone that's watching, can you write that down? Love that.
Yeah. So secrecy, shame, and judgment, which so shame can just grow and then grow. And the drama is the stories we tell in our head.
Yeah.
Right. So like someone might have said to me once that I was slutty because I had cleavage showing, which when you have ginormous breasts, it's a little challenging not to have cleavage showing. But from there, I created drama in my mind. Right. So I created a big, long story around what it was to be slutty and what it meant to be slutty.
Ooh, I'd love to dive into that. Like, what does it mean? What is the experience of shame and what does it mean to be slutty? I feel like those are amorphous definitions in my mind. And they're different to everyone.
They're totally different. That's kind of the fun thing and also the hard thing too, because shame might look like someone deciding to, I don't know, never go on a date again, right? And shame might look to someone else, it might swing the other way of I'll show you, right? Like I'll show you, I'm going to go out with 5 different people and I'll show you, but then there might be some retaliation on the back end. Right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't even know. Like one big place of pocket of shame that I didn't know is when I did the blueprint. I did some video testing for our teacher and for the new program that went out. Right. It was a self-feeding.
Yeah.
And so I basically was self-pleasuring on a bed full of toys. And when I was done, I had a somatic response of feeling like, oh my gosh, that was probably too much for people or, right? So one thing I've learned over time and that I work with my clients on is what is your somatic response? So what is the response in your body when a shame, I call it ribbon, when a shame ribbon appears?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's almost like memory can just like jolt back to many moments of shame in my body.
Totally.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
And so then sluttiness has so many different variations of definitions as well.
Yeah. What do you think slutty is? Like, I would want to know, like, everyone in the chat, like, what is the definition of slutty?
Yeah.
What I have always called slutty is promiscuous. Like someone who sleeps with a lot of people, who generally it's a female body. That was like how I feel like when I was called a slut. I thought it was people telling me that I was promiscuous. I found some good definitions lately. I've been just doing a little more research, and it's really the definition is on the binary, which I don't love, but it talks about women being sexually empowered, women who own their body, women who know what they want, women who go against the government, women who empower other people to be erotically empowered. That's like, oh yes, I am definitely a slut.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So, yeah. So like, what do you think a slut is?
Well, you just kind of like popped a hole in what I thought my definition was. So yeah, my definition is someone that is sexually active with many people. But there's like, of course, this reclamation of being slutty, of like being openly communicative, and everyone that you're sleeping with knows who's connected to you, and you have an STI conversation before. That's like,
you're slutty if you have an STI conversation,
right? It's so hard to actually define when you're like, wait, some people are just like relationship anarchists or polyamorous or claim slutty as like, as how they want to live. So
right. The ethical slut.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have no definition.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to let you know that when we ask in the chat, they can see us, but they see us like 30 seconds later. So we'll ask a question and then they'll have extra time to think about things. So someone said, someone who has more sex than is societally sanctioned. Oh, and what is that?
Yeah.
Who made the number?
Who did make the number?
Yeah.
There's a lot of shame around the number. Because it's not enough. It's too much. It's like, I am going through that right now, of a little bit of my own shame, a new little layer. It's a layer. Yeah.
To the cake.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else said, is the label that narrow-minded people give to sexually empowered women. Yeah. It's the label. Yep. See that again.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck labels.
Yeah. We're also, Gigi and I are also in a queer competency certification. Gigi has graduated, but I'm in it now. And so Gigi's like in the next program of it. And as we look at certain definitions of things, like you mentioned, of sluttiness or different gender definitions or concepts, as we start to break them down for what they mean now that we have all this information and we remove the layers of stigma and shame, it's almost like for me that everything becomes just what it is, which isn't a label. Does that make sense? Like that sluttiness doesn't actually have a label when you're just happen to be expressing yourself sexually freely.
Yes, and there's the thing that the stigma comes in because people still use labels.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like, so it's a I guess it's just a process of deeper self-exploration of what does it mean to you and how does it affect you. Right? Like I'm not positive my mom is loving that I'm putting shameless and slutty around Facebook, and like it's important to me and my passion and my mission, and so that's like I take the risk, and I'm not sure she's loving it. What do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do? And there's a lot of people who hide that, right? Which is absolutely totally okay, right? There's no level that we need to be like out regarding our sexual prowess. Is that the right word? Prowess?
I think so. Yeah. Amazing. I love that. And I love you mentioning that the parental units or the older generations, they in a way get re-educated by the younger generation. So I love that even though this is something that could be face-to-face with one of your parents, that it's like, oh, yeah, it's here. It's here. Yeah. And if you want, we can have a conversation about it.
For sure.
Yeah. So, okay, this conversation was stemmed from us getting really excited about talking about like being shameless and slutty, and then also that relating to STIs and and leading that conversation in a really open and honest way that makes it as easy as ordering a cup of coffee. So I want to know more about how you have gotten to like talk about that and why that's something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, well, again, I'm queer, I'm curvy, and I have herpes, and I have a lot of really great, amazing pleasure and sex in my life, and I want that for everyone. So, let me breathe. Let's breathe together.
Let's breathe.
Get in the body. There's so much shame around our genitals.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to sexual health, which for me is very holistic, like it's not just genital health or keeping someone like free from pregnancy if it doesn't want to be there, or preventing some sort of an STI. It's a whole, it's spiritual and mental and physical and emotional. So I take a more holistic approach with sexual health. And the STI conversation seems to be the sticking point that a lot of people feel so uncomfortable about, which I believe is from all the stigma of, oh, you have something. Oh, right. So being sex positive is also being STI friendly. So if someone claims to be sex positive, which is basically don't yuck anyone's yum, all forms of sexuality are wonderful for anyone who is consensually engaged in it. And being STI friendly is part of that. So I have herpes. Just to get something out of the air, I am not dirty. So someone who does not have herpes is not clean. Right? So even just changing our language of, oh yeah, I have negative testing. I went and got my STI testings and everything was negative. Just like little things like that. Like it's a little tiny word, but that infers that I'm dirty. Right? And so having the conversations just in general can be as easy as, hey, my name's Gina GG and I have herpes. Now, that's not going to work for everyone, right? So the thing that we need to determine is what actually works for you. And honestly, practice is what works the most.
I was going to say, you said that so like, just like, ta-da, the sky is blue.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder how long it took you to get there. You know?
Great question.
Because that seems like that would take a lot of like shame layer shedding to be like, I'm out and I'm owning this.
You know what ended up happening to me? I'm such a sensitive person. When I started online dating, I would end up really like, I'm also an energetic blueprint. So, you know, if there's a connection, I'm basically in love with you. Right. And so what would happen is I would feel a connection with someone. I would be like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then I'd go to have the conversation and then it would be a no-go. So I just got tired of that. So I either put it on my profile or before I even would meet anyone in person, I was just like, let's talk red flags. I have herpes. And that doesn't work for everyone. Not everyone needs to do that. But that is how I started doing it because my heart kept just hurting. The other thing I realized is that me having herpes ended up being like this. It's like a black or white thing. Oh, herpes, which is fine. Like I'm totally cool. I totally honor you and your choice not to have sex with me. And there's so many things that we could do. Like, can we do other things? You know?
Can you tell me what's on the menu of other things? Because I want to know that. Like if you and I'm pretending, I am automatically put myself in the I'm on a date with you.
Yay!
And I'm like, yeah, let's do this.
Great.
My first question is, where do I lick?
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a great question. I mean, so the first thing actually, Jessie, is like, where is your level on risk? Because when it comes to having sex, it's risky,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's no safe sex. The only safe sex is actually not having sex, which isn't having sex.
Mm-hmm.
And so you, Jessie, need to determine what is your layer of risk?
Mm.
What are you willing to do? And do you know why? Right? So you're like, where can I lick? Well, I want to know, okay, so what are you wanting to not lick? Like, what is the concern for you?
Right.
Right. And so the more you can know yourself to know, let's see, I'm definitely concerned around like genital to genital contact. I don't know if I am concerned about my mouth. I actually don't even know. Maybe Gigi, we should talk some more.
I love that. I think that's first where a lot of the no comes from, is like, I don't know a whole lot. Therefore, I have lots of stories of what is possible, and it's a lot to sort. And therefore, I got to check out.
Which is why you should come play with me.
Yeah.
Because then we get to figure that out. I mean, that is one of the things that we get to do when you work with me is like, what are your sexual values? What are your agreements to yourself and with other people? And then can you confidently say them and speak them, especially in the heat of passion? Right?
Ooh, when the risk is high.
Yeah, when the risk is high and you're like, oh, fuck, I didn't have the conversation. Yeah. That's the place where we often kind of throw everything to the towel because our hormones are just like, yes, fuck me now. Like, I don't care. Just stick just stick something inside of me or whatever. So getting really clear on our sexual values is actually probably one of the coolest things you could do, and then take it out there to share it, because then it just it deepens the vulnerability and it deepens the intimacy. I feel like it deepens the intimacy.
For sure. If that was a conversation that we had on the first date, I'd be like, I want more of you, because I see how you're carrying yourself in this conversation so gracefully. And what else can we share together?
I think that's another hot tip for people who have a little fear around the STI conversation. The more confident and casual you can be, generally, the more confident or at least casual it's going to feel. And owning like, wow, this feels really scary, but my genital health is kind of important. Can we talk about genitals? Or like, I kind of geek out on genitals. And so, can we talk about it? Or, you're so hot. Can we go get STI tests together on our next date?
Oh my gosh, that is hot.
Yeah.
That's your little energetic building in more anticipation.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then, Jessie, for you, like, figuring out what might be fun for you is to wrap me up in saran wrap.
You know me well.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 my brain.
Yeah.
Can you say more about that?
Yeah.
I would love to wrap you up in cellophane, like on a table, and just like pour hot oil over that, and like, yeah. Anyway, I'm trailing off.
Yeah, it's so good. I am available.
I like what you just did there, though, too. You're like, let's openly communicate about this, and then let's bring back, like, once I get your compliance in some way, like, how can we make it flirtatious? Which I've had, like, flirtation in my understanding is just being playful about something. So I love that you just, like, kind of made me go blah, 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 and like, let's get back to the conversation.
I know, but I was wishing I was wanting a motorboat. Blah, blah, blah. That's what I was feeling. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. You know I want that.
I know. And the question is, do you want saran wrap there? Like, that's a really interesting, like, right. That's a great thing, is like, do you want saran wrap all over my whole body, or do you just want it on my genitals, right? And great questions are, do you have breakouts? Do you know when? Are you on suppressant medicine? Like, and herpes is not the only thing out there.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I encourage people to get tested so you know a baseline, because so many STIs don't have symptoms, and then that causes all sorts of fun things.
Yeah.
Which
I
aren't
can help myself here. Like I was diagnosed with HPV like 10 years ago, and I have no symptoms of it, but it's there. So in the past, what has shown up is that like I've had that like, oh my gosh, I really like this person feeling. And then like, is this still even a concern? Like, is this something I need to talk to about this person? And then re-educating myself and having oopsie moments of getting caught up in passion beforehand. So I love that you're bringing lots of awareness to this.
I think another fun thing is if we all could just fall in love with gloves and condoms and cellophane and like literally making it sexy. That to me would be super helpful, because there's stigma around safer sex. And that like becomes such an interesting dynamic of, I don't want to wear a condom because I don't feel it. And it's like, but I don't feel safe if you don't have one on. And who are you fluid bound to, which means you have a partner that you don't wear condoms or protection with. And which comes to play more in people who have multiple partners.
You just brought up the like realization that I think a lot of people don't know that wearing gloves is highly sensual.
Oh my gosh.
That, like,
so good.
The feeling of like slippery, soft, and then like putting lube on your hands. Like, I understood this more when I got in latex from head to toe, and I was like, oh my God, like latex is sensual. It's just like this beautiful, slippery, soft, glidey kind of out of this world feeling. And that can all like gloves on your hands are like a latex bodysuit kind of.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's what we could do.
Maybe
latex. We could roll around in our latex stuff.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I would be so into that. Yay. People have said, oh my gosh, this is so good. Sex isn't exciting without some risk. And the juicy and sexy, the intimacy through communication.
Where do I lick?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sweating.
I love that so much. Latex.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I want to go back to the slut part though.
Okay, great. Okay. Let's do it.
Because I still feel like this idea of, I was talking to someone the other day, like you don't even have to be having sex to be considered a slut or to be slutty. And I was wondering, why do we feel shameful around, why do people feel shameful around sex? Like where did that even come from? I mean, I guess it comes from religion. It can come from society. But, I mean, why aren't we all wanting to be slutty?
Yeah. Ponder that. When you asked me that, my first thought was safety.
Great.
There is this part of me that wants to protect me, that wants to keep me safe. That biological instinct to not die in some way. Even though
die through sex? Oh, say it again.
Oh, I had said that could be the best way to go. Dying from having too much awesome sex with too many awesome people.
And why would that be bad? Because something. Exactly. Oh, okay. I'm just trying to figure out, like, are you talking like on a genital health? Like as in there's a potential for you to get some sort of a infection or disease that would cause you to die?
That didn't even connect. I think it's more so the messaging around that, like there is some risk in this, and then there's just like fog after that, which is so strange in what that instinctual part needs.
Do you drive a car?
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a plane?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like that, those are the things that are actually so freaking risky.
Yeah.
I mean, and we drive our cars and text and put mascara on and are drinking our coffee all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something to be said around too, like having just this conversation, like having sex, driving a car, riding a bike. It was so clunky and weird and awkward in the beginning, and it was scary, and there was risk. There was all sorts of risk, and now we literally just do it over and over and over, and we don't even think about it. And I think that's probably why I can say, "Hey, I'm Gigi. I'm queer and curvy, and I have herpes." Yeah. And I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. Right? I think we're so afraid of rejection. We're so afraid of not being loved, or no one will want me. And there's just so many people out there. There's so much fruit that it can feel lonely at times. And I definitely understand it. And I also feel like there's a part of us that holds back that doesn't need to.
For sure. Yeah. As you were explaining the risk thing, like how much risk do we have in our lives in general that are more risky than what our perceived risk is?
I have a question for you. Do you ever get flogged by someone that has their own flogger?
I love this question. Yes, I do.
Yeah. So see, like if you wanted to be really, really, really specific, Jessie, if you were being really, really careful, you'd get your own flogger, and you'd only be flogged by your own flogger.
Yeah.
Right? Because that can bring blood. That can be blood-bound. So those are things that some people don't even think about. Not to freak you out by any means.
Totally, yeah.
But you probably would be happy.
I've had that conversation.
If you have had that conversation?
Yeah, especially with one of our really great colleagues and friends that is a master flogger. I've been like, so the deer hide, like you just like happen to graze that person's genitals. How does this work? And I think they told me something and I took it as the truth, which I didn't even consider blood. I just considered like sexual fluid.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I mean, you think about it in kink, sometimes you can draw blood. Like I know flogging isn't intentionally generally for drawing blood, and it can be there. So, yeah. And those are all just like things to think about. We don't often think about that, and we take so many different risks. Like having sex in a hot tub, like bacteria, BV, getting different like infections inside of us, just actually going in a hot tub, but then potentially, yeah.
You just brought up that. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
There's so. There's so many. Thank you. I'm getting another rush of heat. Man. You're making me realize that so many of the toys that I have of like sensual toys are conduits to connection, that we all could have our own toys, and that could be like a very simple, easy, fun way of having what we think sex is.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing too that we need to dispel. We should change the lights to red since you just got turned on hot. Okay.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about these, because this is something that we're both nerdy about in
totally.
And so will you share with them what you just did?
Yeah. So I have the ability to change. I'm super sensual. So this, first of all, Y'all are super lucky because I don't let anyone in my bedroom. And Jessie was like, you have to be in the bedroom. And I was like, but I don't let people in my bedroom. This is my sanctuary. This is heaven. This is my space with my beloved. And so there y'all go.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Something to be said, I wanted to say, someone said, for me, too many people inside my body or field can be overwhelming for an energetic. It's so true. Mm-hmm. And that's part of like why this sanctuary of my bedroom is mine and my beloved. It's just ours. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to share, like, you're going to ask me what's my favorite thing in my bedroom, and it's my bedroom. I don't share. And then look, I just shared it with the world. Yeah. And in the bedroom, we have these beautiful lights that can change colors.
Yeah. So I want to let people know, if you're like, what the heck are you both talking about? Ooh, I love the contrast of both of our lights now. Sensual, like in the work that we do as erotic blueprint coaches, a sensual is someone that's turned on by the beautification of sex. So they are turned on by how beautiful the space is. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's take Gigi's room, for example.
Look, see?
I see plushy, like pillows in the background. I see lit candles. I see like something on the wall that I want to touch that would make a pretty sound. There's furs everywhere. And that allows like this space of just like, oh my God, yum.
Delight.
Yeah. And I'm sure there'd be like a speaker nearby with some awesome music. So sensual people really like that. And energetics need anticipation and tease and like longing and waiting for them to feel ready to connect. And when they do connect, they want to look into your soul. So they want to go deep. So
energetics generally don't like this, except I'm energetic, so I kind of do like it. Yeah. But our whole room is cream on cream on cream, which is also very energetically pleasing to my palate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can also, so this is like a lighting system called the Hue Phillips light setup. It's on an app on your phone that you can change the color, but I don't know if you knew this. You can take a picture of something, like say you take a picture of your awesome breasts, and you can make the lighting the colors of the different hues in that picture. So you can have like one whole light setting that's just like tits.
I'm doing it.
And it'll be that whole room will be that.
Okay, keep talking, because I'm not going to try to put on tits.
Okay.
I don't know how.
I could give you a tutorial sometime as well.
Right.
We can play with it.
All right.
But
we'll do that later.
Fun way to set the mood. Like in self-pleasure, it is something that for me to feel dialed into my space, I have to change the lighting and turn on some sound and luxuriate my body to make it feel really smooth. Maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe I just put on some gloves now.
Which actually is a really hot tip around having the conversation, right? Like, so I tend to be, I often teach and I fight in the sexual blueprint, which is very like, and I also am like, hi, I'm Gigi and I have herpes. That's very sexual. It's just like, to the point, here I am, this is who I am, let's fuck. Mm-hmm. But if someone said that, I would be like, no, we have to have the call. We have to have a conversation. But that's something to be said around connection and shame and sluttiness, and like an energetic slut might be different than a sensual slut, might be different than a sexual slut, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
When I got dressed today, I was like, why am I wearing this? Like, is this, why do I think this is slutty? Right. So I had a little bit of a weird, funny thing when I was getting dressed of like, well, why would I think that this is slutty? But I have that thing. I have that old shame memory around, if I show my breasts, that is slutty. So of course that's what I wanted to do. Right. To promote my sluttiness.
Yeah, but you're making me understand that like when we were talking about this and getting ready for it, we were like, ooh, we're going to dance. And may I share what you had said about a bra?
Yeah.
You were like, oh, well, I'm going to have a bra on for if we dance and then I'll take it off. And I was like, wait, why? We're talking about like sluttiness and your breasts are awesome. And then that idea that like, oh, being naked under your clothing is slutty.
Yeah. Right.
What?
Yeah. Well, and so some people would be not wearing underwear, right?
Yeah.
Not wearing a bra. Like
Yeah.
it's a funny thing, this thing of being slutty. So I think the reclamation of the word slut for each individual is deep and fun and interesting work of like, well, what is my definition of a slut, and would I want to be one, and does it matter to me? And if you've never been called a slut, then it might not matter. But if you've been called a slut before for whatever reason, there's probably a somatic marker within you that doesn't feel good. Or if you've ever called someone a slut, oh, wow, she looks slutty, then that's a really beautiful place to be like, why? Because she has a short skirt on? Or they have a short skirt on? Yeah.
I love that. It is totally time to reclaim slut. Yes. And I see that sometimes we do need support for with bras, like in movement. Definitely. Yeah. I want to bind my breasts to my body whenever I jump. So that makes, there's a function for it.
Totally. Yeah.
Man, oh my God. Our lighting alone is just like, it's doing it for me.
See, we can have so much sex like this. Like,
yeah, we could.
You don't even need saran wrap. I mean, you're motorboating me. Yeah. It's so much fun.
It is.
I think that's something that I would really love for humans to hear, is that this idea or this paradigm of what is sex, humans are missing out. Like, there's so much pleasure to be had. And I just feel like people miss out because they think that it's this one thing.
Yeah.
And I know that the erotic blueprints like teach us to expand and expand and expand. And then when I really stepped into all of my queerdom, I mean, it's just like, it just is ever expanding, you know, ever expanding. And I guess that's why be a pleasure slut. Like, you don't even really have to have sex to be a slut, in my opinion. You don't have to. There's just,
I just thought of our coaching training being called like Pleasure Slut Con or something like that. Not that everyone is on the same variation that we are, I guess, of what that training is for us. But I've been like 3 years now, and after each year, a level of like pleasure gets to be had on a new level. By people that are able to have an open and honest conversation, to play in ways where no one even needs to get naked or touch genitals at all, but we're having like orgasmic experiences.
Yep.
So that's a really cool idea, that like becoming like a master at, or like on the way to pleasure mastery, is so many more options of who you can play with, how you can play, what you can play with. Wizardry.
I think that I think that's why you and I are on the path. Right? Like this idea of pleasure and sexuality is a never-ending journey, because there's nowhere really to get. But even when you think, oh my gosh, I've up-leveled, or like, oh I hit my pleasure ceiling, then there's always more. There's infinite ways for pleasure. And I guess I would love for everyone to know that also. And we all have different pathways, right? Like, we all have different pathways. And I think that's the thing around being shameless, is not yucking anyone else's yum, Don't knock it till you've tried it.
Mm-hmm.
My personal rule is try everything 3 times.
Yeah.
Except like heroin and meth and like that. But, and then if you add a different partner, you got to start over the 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like anal sex is such a hard one because so many people have a hard experience their first time of anal sex.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, nope, never, ever, ever, ever. And I'm like, you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
There's so much like, so much, blah, nah. That's for the next show.
It's actually, that is coming very soon. I have my notes of having the guest that we're going to talk about butt stuff, butt play.
Oh, I can't wait. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going to open the back door.
Yes. I wonder what color it'll be that night.
Ooh.
Will you please wear gloves the whole time?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Can you please? Just for me.
Yes, please.
Can you please practice safe anal play for Gigi and play with the gloves?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Anything. Yes. Yes, I will.
Thank you.
I love that. Well, we're almost to our like closing, and I'm curious if I see some beautiful comments here, and if anyone has any questions, please type them in. Someone said, I'm loving this conversation and feel so empowered by the content. You both are amazing. Thanks.
Yay. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. Oh, open the back door. Yeah. So can you tell people like how they can learn more from you if they're like super turned on by this, which who's not, who like, how can they get in contact with you? What do you have coming up? I know you have some awesome fun stuff coming up.
I do.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm actually teaching another, that you get more techniques this weekend at a virtual intimacy retreat. It's 3 days of online sexual, sensual yumminess. So I'll put the link in that below. I'm doing another class on, Shameless and Slutty with herpes and giving techniques to have specific conversations. And then I have my own little group, a shameless group. It's Sexual Health and Me. And so I can put the little link to that. I'm not for everyone, and that is okay. But if you're like, oh my gosh, I love Gigi, come get some Gigi time. You can also always private message me. Find me on, well, mostly Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, but I'm not there very often.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you can tag me if you have any questions, tag me in this video. And I can also answer there if you don't want to like join my group or anything.
Yeah.
It's totally cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So I would love for us to collaborate on like the summary of what we just chatted about, of what Slameless and Shutty?
Slameless and Shutty?
Yeah. That.
Slameless and Slutty.
Yeah. We talked about having open conversations about it just being like a light, playful exchange.
Oh, did I say why? No.
Tell me.
This will just take a second.
Yeah, I love it.
When we add humor and play, our nervous system relax. And so having our nervous system regulated and down, it helps us have hard conversations. And so play brings in ease because it's not so serious. So we did talk about adding a little bit of play and casualness to the conversation.
I just imagined so many people that I know, and myself too, like being diagnosed with something, leaving the doctor's office and having this just like drained feeling of like, I don't know if this is for everyone, this story, but my story and some other friends of mine have been like distraught by this life change. Or this news and what it could possibly mean for them. And I think it's mainly that huge umbrella of like, am I going to be loved still?
Yep.
But I wish that you could be like their little like slutty fairy godmother that just like pulled us into your bosom and was like, it's totally okay. Like, you're going to grow from this. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
People are going to love you. You're going to get to have awesome conversations.
Yeah.
All that. And epic sex.
I would love that too.
Yeah.
I would love that too. And for whatever reason, it's part of the human experience to kind of go through that big, heavy stuff. Like I would love for us all to start trying to remove the stigma and shame of any STI. Mm-hmm. And it lives in consciousness, and our doctors are not very nice sometimes about it. So many people get shamed when they get a diagnosis. Mm-hmm. So I would love that too, but each of us can all just be the more STI friendly. And it's not that we should all promote, hey, everyone go have sex with Gigi so you can get herpes. It's really just more around, oh my God, I love Gigi. She's amazing. And she's an amazing person. Like, the fact that I have herpes has nothing to do with who I am at all. Mm-hmm. Like, at all. Mm-hmm. And so if we all just looked at someone else and be like, oh my gosh, you have the flu, or like, oh, you have pink eye. You know, like, if I have pink eye, you're not going to be giving me butterfly kisses that night. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just you have pink eye. Mm-hmm. So I would love that too. And I think it starts with us.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for being that model for us and whoever watches this, so that they can like integrate more of your characteristics. Yay. Thank you so much. While I'm saying this next part about like the introduction to the next opening the bedroom doors, I would love, Gigi, for you to think of a special kind of kiss that everyone would blow at the end of this. Yeah. So the next opening the bedroom doors is going to be all about optimizing your sexual nerdiness. So this is about having all of the experiences you could ever want, because you're being very proactive and using spreadsheets if you want. And you are like activating that nerdiness so that you can really optimize all of your sexual experiences. So we're going to have, for the first time, a duo on that talks about how they proactively have super epic hot sex, and like Gigi said, continually break that pleasure ceiling, so that you can experience new levels of heights regularly. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Well, yeah, I'll release that information in our group. And also, if you liked this content, please give a thumbs up if you made it all the way to the end. Send any hearts our way. Of course, the more people that get to see this, the better. And that's how it's spread. I have some upcoming workshops next week that I'm super excited to offer. One is the ultimate orgasm, building sexual energy with edging. So that's where I teach you how to ebb and flow through pleasure and ecstasy so that you can create these elevated experiences of joy and like just mind melting, epic experiences in orgasm or beyond. And then another class that I have right after that, the next day, is going to be mind-melting erotic spanking. So I will be sharing in a private Zoom on both of those with a live demo how to play with these sensations on your body with intensity in spanking, so that you can activate parts of your brain that send you lots of yummy drugs or neurotransmitters that allow you to feel super safe and relaxed to the point of dropping into and letting go of any of your mind. So I'll post both of those invites in our group as well. And I hope you join us there. Yeah, those are both $25. No one will be turned away. So please reserve a seat though.
Yay. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Okay, we're going to do a really long, epic, sensual kiss.
Okay, tell us how we do that.
Okay, so you're going to you're going to just be like, you got to move your body.
Okay.
You got to use both hands. Oh my goodness. Yummy. Yummy.
Yay! Oh my
Yay.
God. Thank you so much.
So fun.
Oh, yay.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was so great.
Yes, I loved this.
I don't want it to ever end.
Me too.
Okay, gotta go.
We'll see you next time. And I can't wait to talk to Gigi about what we're going to talk about next. Yeah.